The Holy Gospel according to Mark. Jesus set out and went away to the region of Tyre. He entered a house and did not want anyone to know he was there. Yet he could not escape, notice. But a woman whose little daughter had an unclean spirit immediately heard about him, and she came and bowed down at his feet. Now the woman was a Gentile of Syrophoenician origin. She begged him to cast the demon out of her daughter. He said to her, "Let the children be fed first, for it is not fair to take the children's food and throw it to the dogs." But she answered him, "Sir, even the dogs under the table eat the children's crumbs." Then he said to her, "For saying that, you may go. The demon has left your daughter." She went home, found the child lying on the bed, and the demon gone. Then he returned from the region of Tyre and went by the way of Sidon towards the Sea of Galilee in the region of the Decapolis. They brought to him a deaf man who had an impediment in his speech, and they begged him to lay his hand on him. He took him aside in private, away from the crowd, and put his fingers into his ears, and he spat and touched his tongue. Then looking up to heaven, he sighed and said to him, "Ephphatha," that is, "be opened." And immediately his ears were opened, his tongue was released, and he spoke plainly. Then Jesus ordered them to tell no one, but the more he ordered them, the more zealously they proclaimed it. They were astounded beyond measure, saying, "He has done everything well. He even makes the deaf to hear and the mute to speak the gospel of the Lord." There are many reasons, and most of you, maybe someone out there in TV land does not. I love Shakespeare. I'm a drama student. There are many reasons to read Shakespeare. I wish people would more. Even if you get a chance to watch it anytime, watch it. Insights into humanity are incredible, the absolute beauty of his words, the dramas. And you can really learn some incredible insults. No one could insult someone like Shakespeare could. And I have to be careful here because I could go on forever and ever with many of these insults. You just got to Google them, they're all there. And also I have to be careful in not including some insults that, shall we say, are not proper for a church crowd. Of course, lots of them are not proper for a church crowd, and you might not get exactly what he's saying. But he loved to do these insults, and maybe because the groundlings, you know, the people that stood on the ground in front of the stage, they were called groundlings because they stood on the ground. But they were the poor, right? They were the less desirable people who were gathered there, the less proper of society, who gathered around the stage or the ground. The groundlings loved a good, bawdy, dirty line or two. The insults such as, "Your brain is as dry as the remainder biscuit after voyage." Or, he has not so much brain as earwax." Or, I like this one, "Would thou wert clean enough to spit upon." Well, I like this one a lot. This is not, "I do desire that we may be better strangers." Or, how about, "Her face is not worth sunburning." Of course, he would also use animals to insult people. He could call someone a pig, as in Richard III, "Thou elfish-marked, aborted, rooting hog." But the best one by far, was from King Lear when Kent is trying to abuse someone with insults. He confronts Oswald. And I'm going to give you a little hint. I'm going to soften the final word of the insult. I'm not going to use Shakespeare's word. I'll use two words in its place, but you'll get what I mean. "Thou art a base, proud, shallow, beggarly, three-suited, 100-pound, filthy worsted stocking knave, a lily-livered, action-taking, whoreson, glass-gazing, super-serviceable, finical rogue, one trunk inheriting slave, one that wouldst be a bawd in way of good service, and art nothing but the composition of a knave, beggar, coward, pander, and the son and heir of a mongrel female dog." You know what Shakespeare said. Son and heir of a mongrel female dog. He doesn't just call him a dog. He's the son and heir, a member of a family, a lineage of such dogs. And it's not a nice dog. Oh, no, 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 no. Not a member of the household, but a mongrel. A mongrel is something that has no breed, no pedigree. It will not be found in the Westminster Dog Show. And while we may love our mongrels, we have 3 at home. Yes, Pearl is a mongrel. It's not a compliment. So why does Jesus, you know Jesus, remember him? Loving, nice, friendly, smiley-faced Jesus? Call this woman who simply wants her daughter healed, who begs for her daughter to be healed of the evil that possesses her. Why would he call her a dog? And please, he really does. Maybe one of his disciples standing there, hearing Jesus say this to the Syrophoenician woman, this Gentile, looks at Jesus with a shocked look and turns and says, "Really, Jesus? You called her a dog?" And Jesus says, "Well, I'm almost human and kind of human. I mean, give me a break. Weren't you thinking about the same thing?" And there are attempts by people, commentators, preachers, whatever, to soften this encounter. We think of our dogs, our family pets, but that is in no way what he's referring to. Jewish people, especially at the time, would not have kept a dog in the house, would not have had pets like that. Their dogs would have had food thrown to them. And some people want to say, some people want to say that Jesus is kind of calling her a puppy, lovable, adorable. Nope, not at all. Or in another way to soften it is to say, well, Jesus was just testing this woman. He knew what he wanted to do. He knew what would happen. He was just playing her, like a dog with a toy. No. You see, if we soften it, then we take away some of the scandal of the story, and the scandal that is often our world and our own attitudes. It is so hard to think that Jesus was responding according to the standards of his religious society, although there is one critical difference, I think. You see, what we often hear is in the story is that Jesus says no to this woman. But he technically doesn't say no. He technically says, wait your turn. You see, as you know, she is a woman, first off. She is a Gentile, a non-Jew. She is a mutt, if you will. And she's from the area of Tyre, that was traditionally an enemy territory of Israel. And before you paint a picture here of this poor widow with nothing else, that isn't what the Bible says. It is more likely that she is at least comfortably off. It appears that she can afford a bed in the house and maybe even a bed for her daughter. She is a complete outsider to the people of Israel. And most good religious people probably would have said to her, "No, you dog, get away." But that's not what Jesus says. He says that the dogs will get theirs, but only after the people of Israel have eaten. There's a proper order to things. Yet is that what gives her hope? Is that what inspires her to have the boldness to speak back to Jesus, this rabbi? Yes, Lord, but even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from the master's table. Okay, I'll accept your designation as a mutt, she says. A dog, an outsider, not one of the chosen people yet. But does that mean I cannot at least be under the table? Can I not have at least the crumbs? That would be enough. Why must I wait longer? Why not include me, even if I am a dog? Include me now. And Jesus does. She receives a foretaste of the feast to come. He includes her now. Go, your daughter is healed as she is. And I find it very interesting, almost funny, if you will, that Jesus never says, "Go, you child of God." He doesn't say, "I'm sorry, I called you for a dog. I called you a dog." He doesn't have to say that, because she doesn't care if he thinks she is a dog, as long as her daughter is healed. And of course, with this healing, Jesus is declaring and saying that she is no mutt, that there are no mutts. This healing is a foreshadowing of what will be the truth. Those divisions we have in our world, those breeds we think that are separate, those people we think are dirty or scoundrels who do not belong at table with us, those boundaries are no more. Jesus follows it up with the healing of the deaf man, That too is a foreshadowing of the day when all will hear the proclamation of the gospel with their own ears. And the truth is, at least the truth is for me, we all, each and every one of us, have those people in our lives that we, quite frankly, might consider dogs. And not puppy dogs, not nice dogs, not cuddly dogs, but dogs, mutts, that we would rather have outside of our homes. Maybe they have bitten us in one way or another. Maybe they have dirtied our rugs. Maybe they have hurt us. Maybe they are of a different tribe, a different race, a different community, a different religion. There are those to whom we want to say, you are not welcome in my circle of life. You are not one of us. Wait your turn. Those whom we would quite rather insult in some way or another. And God's call is to look otherwise and to listen with our ears unplugged, healed, and to the gospel that says otherwise. We were watching the Westminster Dog Show the other day. We always get a kick out of it, and I think it was a rerun, I'm assuming. And I enjoy the commentary about the breeds. The guy with a nice voice, you know. There seems never to be anything negative about any breed, by the way. You ever notice that? There might be code words like, this breed is very strong-willed. But it's interesting that as I listened, they were talking about these mastiffs, one of the mastiffs, and it was the working dog category. And the commentary was talking about how this mastiff was, I forget the exact language, but basically this mastiff was the stock for many of the other breeds in the working territory. That many of them came from the mastiff line. Breeders make new breeds, don't they? But we, however, all people, come of the same stock, God. We are all of the same breed, children of God and children of God's grace. Even if there are some who fail to recognize that or recognize it or embrace it, and that even if some people bite God's hand, bite the hand that feeds them, that doesn't change the fact of who they are, which is how we are called to see them. And when you feel like, well, like a dog, when you are dog tired, maybe due to COVID or whatever it is, when you are desperate for some sort of healing in your life, when we feel like we are the ones in life that only get the scraps, know that God calls you as a child of God to be at the table, now and always. Luther famously said that before God we are all but beggars. We are all groundlings standing before the great drama of salvation. And better than that, we are actually called up on stage to play our parts. And unlike Shakespeare, who says signifies nothing, no, this play signifies everything. It is the drama of salvation. So, if you really want to insult someone, look up Shakespeare's insults. Learn a few, impress your friends. If you want, however, to invite someone to the banquet of grace, to the healing of God, that I pray you know in worship and sacrament, listen to and learn the words of grace. The words of grace that say, be healed, be welcome, be mine. Amen.